Hi, this is Pittsburgh Matt, and I'm an alcoholic. Today we're going to be going over step 3 in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. In my own personal big book, I have outlined some key subjects and key points that kind of separate the words from the filler words, a lot of the build-up words. So this is a quick index reference for when you're reading to what the subject matter is about. It kind of sticks it out from certain pronouns or certain words that kind of just throw the context in a different directions, because all these concepts are very deep and they go beyond just a index reference. So what these do is they kind of pull those words out and just show amplification for those subjects. Highlighted in yellow is the physical craving. Highlighted in orange is the mental obsession. Highlighted in green is helping others. Definitions and synonyms are underlined in blue. Prayers are highlighted in blue. Promises are highlighted in pink. Questions. These are all sentences that end with a question mark and is a question to the reader. They're underlined in green. The musts, the had tos, and the has tos are all circled in red. And have recovered. Recovered is in the past tense, are underlined in red. And that's a simple index that it's going to be carried on throughout this big book, because how many times do we underline stuff that's important, and because we were so deep into it, we kind of forgot the meanings of those importance, or how they were in context to how we were studying. So that kind of gives it a plumb line per se, is okay, this is what this idea signifies, and is going to continue through the book that the points are trying to be given. So we're going to come here, and this is a step 3 study. So we're going to come here to page 60. So here at page 60, we had gone through the steps. Here are the ABCs. And now it says being convinced we were at step 3. Now notice it says being convinced we're at step 3. We're not at step 3 yet. We're still in step 2. We believe we're in step 2. And we're not really sure exactly what that means per se, except for where we're sitting today. That could run amongst different meanings as you follow this journey in life. But being convinced we were at step 3, it's telling us to hold on for a second. Now, what I'm going to go over is a tool that I currently use on an ongoing basis. In the doctor's opinion, it told us that us alcoholics are restless, irritable, and discontented. Now, that continues on in sobriety. Even after the shakes, the jitters, the panic attacks, all the good stuff that comes from, which were all from alcohol, and the obsession to drink. Once that's been lifted, we still have a tendency to lean towards restlessness, irritability, and discontentment. And I go through it all the time. And I use this story as a tool to organize my thoughts. And I'll demonstrate in here. Now you notice down here, I have the words my name. And we're going to go through the story of the actor. But anytime that there's a pronoun relating to the actor, I'm going to use my name in it, so I can personalize what's going on and understand the concept of where I am in reference to what's going on around me. And I'll start the story with, most people try to live by self-propulsion. Each person is like Pittsburgh Matt, who wants to run the whole show, is forever trying to arrange the lights, the ballet, the scenery, and the rest of the players in Pittsburgh Matt's own way. If Pittsburgh Matt's arrangements would only go or only stay put, if only people would do as Pittsburgh Matt wished, the show would be great. Everybody, including Pittsburgh Matt, would be pleased. Life would be wonderful. In trying to make these arrangements, Pittsburgh Matt may sometimes be quite virtuous. Pittsburgh Matt may be kind, considerate, patient, generous, even modest and self-sacrificing. On the other hand, Pittsburgh Matt may be mean, egotistical, selfish, dishonest. But as with most humans, Pittsburgh Matt is more likely to have varied traits. What usually happens? The show doesn't come off very well. Pittsburgh Matt begins to think life doesn't treat Pittsburgh Matt, well. Right. Pittsburgh Matt decides to exert himself even more. Pittsburgh Matt becomes, on the next occasion, still more demanding or gracious, as the case may be. Still, the play does not suit Pittsburgh Matt. Admitting he may be somewhat at fault, Pittsburgh Matt is sure that other people are more to blame. Pittsburgh Matt becomes angry, indignant, self-pitying. What is Pittsburgh Matt's basic trouble? Is Pittsburgh Matt not only a self-seeker, even when trying to be kind? Is Pittsburgh Matt not a victim of the delusion that Pittsburgh Matt can wrest satisfaction and happiness out of this world if Pittsburgh Matt only manages well? Is it not evident to all the rest of the players that these things Pittsburgh Matt wants? And do not Pittsburgh Matt's actions make each of them wish to retaliate, snatching all they can get out of the show? Is Pittsburgh Matt not even Pittsburgh Matt's best moments a producer of confusion rather than harmony? Pittsburgh Matt is self-centered, egocentric, as people would like to call it nowadays. And so I use this tool to find out, okay, really all my intentions are being selfish here. And all these traits, I display. And especially in the second part, when the outcome's not exactly what I thought it would be. So I got to ask myself these questions. And one of the questions that really moves the needle is right here. It says, is he not a victim of the delusion that he can wrest satisfaction and happiness out of this world if only he manages well? And that one's kind of like, hey, hold the phone, we're on step 3, and we're being told we can't be managers. We got to get out of the management business and out of the outcome business, and we got to get more into the serving business. That's what that tells me. And one of the keys is, rest, spelled with a W. It's more like a wrestle. Wrestle satisfaction. When things don't go my way, there's problems. When things really go my way, it seems I'm speaking from experience. Even though they're going great, if they just didn't go my way, we got problems. And and that's part of managing well. We can manage well according to this, and according to my experience, I can manage well all I can. But if I'm in the outcomes business, man, that's a tough road for me. So, and as we go on, we talk about he's like the retired businessman who tolls in the Florida sunshine in the winter, complaining about the sad state of the nation. The minister who sighs over sins of the 20th century, politicians and reformers who are sure all would be a utopia. If the rest of the world would only behave. The outlaw safecracker who thinks society has wronged him. And the alcoholic who has lost all and is locked up. So, now here we are, that we think most of the root of our troubles is selfishness and self-centeredness. And I got underlined in blue: selfishness disregards others, and self-centeredness, self-importance. And it was explained to me by a person out of Georgia that that selfishness is taking all we can, and we don't care about what other people think. And self-centeredness is like the martyr that burns himself alive in front of the courthouse because he's so important that people are going to care. And I can see both of myself. I can see both of those things in myself and my personality. And another thing I wanted to cover too, here in self-will. I used to think self-will was given to me, and self-will was given to me for survival. And really, it's self-will is doing things in spite of others. And how true that is sometimes. The biggest motivation I can get is if I do something out of spite. It kind of gives me that extra chip on the shoulder, the extra oomph, I'm really going to show them now, And self-will run riot. I'm going to do everything I can in spite of other people's concerns or wishes. So now we got a couple musts. If you're like me, my first assignment from the sponsor was to circle the musts. Above everything, we alcoholics must be rid of the selfishness. We must, or it kills us. And here we got a promise. God makes that possible. We got a had to down here. We had to have God's help. This is the how and why, but first of all, we had to quit playing God. It didn't work. I mean, that's for me personally, that was self-evident. Even when I wanted it to work and it worked how I wanted it to, it didn't really work. And God was going to be the director. So here in that parable with the actor, he's not the director, but he's playing the director's job, but he's still just the actor. So he was going to be our director in this. Are we overstepping our place when we're just acting in the role of life? We're getting in the way of the director. He is the principal, which he is capitalized. That's God. And we are his, capitalized, his agents. We work for him. He, capitalized, is the Father, and we are his, capitalized, children. Most good ideas are simple, and this concept was the keystone of the new triumphant arch in which we passed into freedom. So, here this is a concept. We haven't made a decision yet. So that's why I said earlier, hold the phone. We're still in step 2. We believe that this could work. We believe that we don't have all the answers, and we believe that something different has to be done. But we're still in step 2. So now we're going to come over to some Step 3 promises, even though we haven't taken the step yet. This is something we can look forward to. And that's highlighted here in pink. When we sincerely took such a position, all sorts of remarkable things followed. We had a new employer being a capital E. Being all-powerful, he, with a capital, provided what we needed. If we kept close to him with a capital and performed his with a capital work well. Established on such footing, we became less and less interested in ourselves, our little plans and designs. More and more we became interested in seeing what we could contribute to life. As we felt new power flow in, as we enjoyed peace of mind, we discovered we could face life successfully. As we become conscious of his presence, with a capital H, we begin to lose our fear from today, tomorrow, and hereafter. We were reborn. And whenever I use that parable as an actor, as a tool in my life, I have to slow down on those sentences to really relate to, is that going on around me? And like I said, I use this tool a lot. I practice step 3 every day. I say this 3rd step prayer every morning. And step 3 is very important to me, but I know it's just a decision. But it's a decision that's got to be practiced. Otherwise, the decision loses weight. So here we are with the prayer. We are now at step 3. Many of us have said to our Maker as we understood him. Maker with a capital M. God, I offer myself to thee, to build with me and to do with me as thou wilt. Relieve me of the bondage of self, that I may better do thy will. Take away my difficulties, that victory over them may bear witness to those I would help of thy power, thy love, and thy way of life. May I do thy will always. Now, one thing to notice about this here, there's no amen here, because there's a lot more work to do. We just made a decision. However, in the 7-step prayer, there is an amen, because now it's past that decision. And so now we come down here to, me personally, I took my first 3rd step by myself. I knew it was the right time. I couldn't wait on anybody else. I knew it was me that had to do it with my Creator. I've since taken other 3rd steps, and I take 3rd steps with men that I sponsor. And but to each their own. It's between you and the big man. It's not up to me, and it's not up to the big book. So, and here's a promise. This was only a beginning, though if honestly and humbly made, in effect, sometimes a very great one was felt at once. So that is step 3. It's going to say, next we launched out on a course of vigorous action. So now we're going to actually be doing something, and that's going to be covered in a different video, in a different study, because now we're approaching step 4 after have completed step 3. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to have your time.